In the wild, mysterious depths of Brittany, France, sits an old abandoned shack. Surrounded by ancient oaks and home to all manner of forest dwellers, it is here that we meet to share our stories. So pull up a seat, swing that light, grab your favourite beverage as we share another tantalising tale in the Freakin Shack.
Hello, you're right.
Bonjour tout le monde.
Bonjour à tous.
Perfect. Here we are again.
Here we are again. Welcome back to the shack. And it's another one of mine.
And it is. This is the whole series is all yours.
Yeah, don't put that much pressure on me because that's just
I'm
too
sorry.
much.
Or
Too
it's
much.
your partner's.
Yeah, absolutely. I have had help.
I think a little bit of recognition to
Yeah, I'd say quite a lot actually, because
our what
as
do they
the
call
dyslexic queen? I find this kind of thing really, really difficult. So,
what do they call the researcher?
researcher.
He is now our official Freakin Shack researcher.
He's the freaking the freaking researcher.
The freaking researcher, yeah. I have a brew. I don't know if you have.
I did, but I drank it.
Okay, I've got my
cold.
magic.
I was keeping my hands warm with it, and
I can't do that because mine.
I know, see, big downside to these thermal mugs is that they just don't get hot on the outside.
I can warm up on the inside.
Yeah, fair.
But yeah, I can't warm my hands up. I have to put them under me arms.
Yeah, under your armpits, warm them up that way.
It's not.
I got my sleeves.
Bad.
My sleeves are good.
You gave me some of those, and I don't know where mine are.
Oh, I'll have to get you some more for Christmas or something.
Yeah, they've got to be around somewhere.
I love mine. I have actually got wrist supports under both of these at the moment because my hands are so bad today. They've been bad for days. I can't even. It's soul destroying. It really is.
Yeah. Well, it's the cold weather just does not help when you've had an injury.
Damp. Yeah. And anyone who suffers with arthritis will know what we're talking about because it's hellish. And my right wrist has been giving me absolute hell over the last couple of days.
Yeah.
The left one has actually been overshadowed by the right at the moment, which is saying something.
Yeah.
That says a lot. So yeah, anyway, we're going to pretend like that's not happening. And I'm going to try and let's just escape the world for a minute and escape into the world of stories and childhood stories.
Excuse me, just a minute. I'm just going to
swing that light.
Swing the light.
Brilliant. So we're going to be talking dog hair just floated down into my field of view there. You can't escape it in this house, I tell you.
No.
This episode is all about the magic number being 3. And we're talking about the importance of 3s in our storytelling.
3 is the perfect number. Enough to create drama, but not enough to form a committee.
So we are covering 3 different stories because, of course, how could we not do 3 stories when we're talking about 3 being important numbers? We're going to do the 3 Little Pigs. We're going to talk about the 3 Billy Goats Gruff, and we're going to talk about Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, which you want to stay here for this one because that is a really, really interesting tale.
Okay.
And it's not how I remember it. So I've enjoyed finding all this stuff out, even though I found it out from the researcher. Yeah. Anyway, so 3s, okay. Throughout all of humanity and all of human history, the number 3 has held a special place from the oldest pagan beliefs right up to modern Christianity. 3s have played a major role in many faiths. even when you look at, the Holy Trinity and all that kind of thing, right? Pythagoras postulated, try saying that 3 times fast, that it was the perfect number, the number of harmony, wisdom, and understanding. The past, present, and future, birth, life, and death, of beginnings, middles, and ends. And if you ever went to school and did English, and they would go, your story has to have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And it was drummed into you. We've all heard of the importance of the number 3, whether from fairy tales, religious stories, or, if you were lucky enough, from singing along to Schoolhouse Rock's 3 is the magic number on a Saturday morning. I have also got written in brackets here, credit written and performed by Bob Doro. I think it's Doro. It could be Dorff. I'll spell it for you. If I butcher it, I apologize, but I'll spell it for you. It's Dorough. So I don't know if it's Oro or Aura or Borough. I don't know. Don't know how his name ends. I'm sorry. Apologies. Anyway, so 3 seems to permeate all aspects of our lives, from warnings such as stop, look, listen, to famed historical speeches, such as Julius Caesar, who said, I've got to try and say this now, Veni, Vidi, Vici, to proud national mottos such as France's Liberté, Égalité, Fraternité, or the US's Life, Liberty, and the Pursuit of Happiness. They obviously stick with us in both personal and cultural levels. In literature too, there are the rules of 3, suggesting that trios of things, such as characters or events, are somehow enhanced, more effective than other numbers. So we see all the time, we talk about Harry Potter a lot, but obviously having the trio, the golden trio that they call them, of Harry, Ron, and Hermione, and having all of those things. But having the 3 is apparently a really weird thing that we seem to have put into our everyday lives. And it's not until somebody actually picks you up on it and you go, oh yeah, that's one of those 3s. Oh look, there's one of those 3s.
Yes.
Like
what?
Like we do it. Sorry, go on.
What number is the shack?
The shack is number 3. It is a number 3. It's another one. I can't count that because my shack's 2. But never mind. One off. 2 out of 3 ain't bad. There's another song for you. What's the other thing I was just about to say? Oh yeah, will you also use it in your driving lessons and things like that? Mirror, signal, maneuver, all of those things that we use all the time, like stop, look, and listen.
Yeah, but it's like the traffic lights, red, amber, and green.
Yeah. So literature, being the evolution of storytelling, is easy to find those 3s appearing in storytelling as far back as we can delve. And so we come to the tales we know from our individual beginnings, our folk and fairy tales. And so we're going to dive into our first one, which is the 3 Little Pigs. Do you remember the story?
Of course I do.
So we can discuss this as I go through this, because I have sort of picked out the story as I remember it. I haven't looked up the actual story that was around when I grew up. I've literally gone just from memory, because I think it's important to pick out the bits that stick in your mind and the bits that you don't really remember being a thing. But, anyway. So we'll pick apart the original stories and things like that in a minute. But the story that I grew up with follows 3 pigs as they go out into the big wide world to make it on their own. They decide that shelter is of the utmost importance, and each set about building a home that will keep out predators. The first little pig builds his house from straw. the second from sticks, and the third choosing to build his house out of stone. Now, again, I can't remember the reason they left. I just remember it as being they were making their own way in the world. They were going out and, moving out. I don't remember if they were thrown out, if they, I don't know.
Get
I haven't got a
out.
clue. Get out. Just get out. Off you
Go.
go. The big bad wolf, in my head it was a wolf. I'm pretty sure it was a big bad wolf. Arrives and asks to be let in to the first little pig's house, and the wolf threatens to blow his house down if he doesn't. The little pig refuses, and the wolf, and I quote, huffs and puffs and blew his house in. The first little pig, and this is again in my story that I remember, the first little pig runs off and seeks refuge with the second little pig in the house of sticks, right? The wolf approaches the second little pig's house and repeats the process. Let me in, let me in. All three pigs then end up in the third house of stone. The wolf tries with all his might to blow down the house of stone with no success. He decides that there's a chimney pot and he can get in that way. So he climbs up onto the roof. The pigs hear him and think they know what he's going to do. So they light a fire in the fireplace. As the wolf descends the chimney, he burns his tail, scales back up the chimney and runs away. I have since discovered that this is perhaps one of the most tame versions of this story.
It is.
So, what do you remember that's different to that? Or do you remember that as the same?
The basics are absolutely as I remember. I also don't really remember. I think they were just three pigs that were off to make it on their own. The first pig found straw and made his house of straw. The second pig found sticks and made his house of sticks. But the third pig found bricks, not stone, but bricks.
Well, there you go.
And made his house of bricks. And then obviously the wolf is hungry and he's looking for food and he sees the first house. And it is very much the rhythm, I think, of the wolf saying, little pig, let me come in. And the little pig saying, no.
Yeah, that not by the hair on my chin.
I will not let you in. And then the wolf would say, if in that case, I will huff and puff and blow your house down.
Or blow your house in, because it all rhymed.
In, okay. Yeah.
It was huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. Yeah.
So the wolf huffed and puffed and blew the house down. And the house made of straw fell down because it wasn't strong enough. And the little pig then ran to his second brother who'd made his house of sticks. And exactly the same thing happened. The wolf then followed him to the next house and went through the same thing. And I think this is why it's such good.
It's good writing. It repeats the whole process. So you can almost start to predict what's going to happen.
Yeah. And all children's stories good children's stories will tend to repeat things because obviously the age that you're telling this story, they love the rhyme and the rhythm and they learn.
We talked about this last time when we were talking about nursery rhymes and it being the introduction to language and it helps us to be able to retain some of the meanings of those words when they're repeated over and over and over again. For me, learning French now, being in an environment where certain phrases and certain things are repeated over and over again, it's so much easier then to learn and retain that information.
Yeah. And then, of course, they exactly the same thing happens. He huffs and puffs and blows the house in. And then the two of them then run to their other brother in the house of bricks and he lets them in. Obviously, it's a very sturdy house. He comes along and he huffs and puffs and he can't blow the house down and he huffs and puffs and he still can't blow the house down. And in the end, he does climb on the roof and push himself down the chimney. But my version of it was always that the bigger brother, the older brother, had the fire already lit with a big pan ready to make dinner full of hot water.
So there's a big pot of water. I seem to remember a big pot of water in the pictures.
Straw, sticks, and bricks. A classic tale of siblings with wildly different DIY skills.
You... And in actual fact, the wolf ends up, instead of the wolf eating them, they end up making wolf soup. So
nice.
he falls into the vat of water and bye-bye, Mr. Wolf.
Fair. Well, it's interesting because there's a whole herd of different takes on this. So let's get into the original tale and the earliest one that I could find.
Okay.
First printed in the 1880s, although the story is thought to be much older. The earliest is set on Dartmoor, and instead of the known pigs as lead characters, we find instead 3 piskies. And in place of the wolf, we have instead a cunning fox. Best known version appears in English fairy tales in 1890. So there's quite some time between. But yeah, started out with piskies and a fox. Not pigs.
And that's something different as well, because so many people, having watched the Harry Potter films, will hear of Cornish pixies.
Yes, Cornish pixies and Cornish piskies, as they should be.
Yes.
Cornish piskies.
Yeah. Mischievous little mites.
Yes.
The mischievousness and the cunningness of them were absolutely right.
Sort of, that chaotic giggle that it gave they gave them as well. Very accurate, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But they should have. But definitely piskies, not pixie. Anyway, in the 5th edition of Nursery Rhymes of England, it includes for the first time in print the now standard phrase, "Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin." And I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in. So that actually came about much later. But again, that's the bit that we all remember because that's the repeated line each time he goes to the house. The phrases used in the story and the various morals drawn from it have become embedded in Western culture. Many versions of the story have been recreated and modified over the years, sometimes making the wolf a kinder character. I'm not quite sure how. Threatening to destroy someone's house is not a kind act. I'm sorry.
No. And the reason he's doing that is because he wants to eat them.
Yeah, he's looking for the biggest bacon sandwich he can find, let's face it. Yeah. So the story, in its arguably best-known form, appeared in the English fairy tales by Joseph Jacobs, first published on 19th of June, 1890. This is the one that had the "Not by the hair on my chinny chin chin" and "I'll huff and I'll puff and I'll blow your house in," crediting Halliwell as a source, because that was where the other well-known tale came from. The earliest published version was Dartmoor, Devon in 1853. So I said 1840s, probably a little after that, but Devon.
No.
Anyway, endings. The endings of these stories change depending on which version you've heard, clearly, because even the one that I knew is a hell of a lot tamer than the one that you knew. The first 2 little pigs were eaten in some of them. So they were eaten one at a time. Nom. On to the next one. Nom. Wolf attempts to meet the pigs at the turnip field. Have you heard of this one?
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I think this is after. So he's gone to the first house, blown that in. Pig ran to the second house, gone to the second house, blown that in. The 2 pigs ran to the third pig's house. Then he's trying to figure out how to get in because he can't blow it down. I think this is where the bit of the story comes in.
Okay.
So the wolf threatens to blow the house in, can't. And before deciding to climb on the roof or do anything like that, he decides to make them an offer to come and meet him in the turnip field. And in some stories, it's a turnip field. In some stories, it's an apple orchard and a fair in others. But the pigs always arrive early to avoid the wolf. Finally, the wolf resolves to come down the chimney, whereupon the pig or stroke pigs, depending on how the story is, because sometimes the two other pigs are eaten. So whereupon the third little pig lights a fire under a pot of water on the fireplace. The wolf falls in and is fatally boiled, avenging the death of the other two brothers. After cooking the wolf, the pig eats him for dinner.
Wow.
There's another version where the other two pigs escape to their brother's brick house. Most of these versions omit any attempt to meet the third pig. The other two pigs escape to their brother's brick house. Most such versions omit any attempts to meet the third pig after his failed attempt to blow the house in. Sometimes the wolf simply burns his tail and runs away. That's the one that I remember. So it's quite interesting. In contrast to the other versions, Andrew Lang's, I think, version in 1892 cast the pigs as they had names. So they were Brownie, Whitey, and Blackie. It also set itself apart by exploring each pig's character. The antagonist is a fox. The pigs made their house from mud, cabbage, and brick.
Okay.
So I don't know where the cabbage thing came from, but that was a different version that I'd not come across before.
Wow. No, I haven't either.
Blackie, the third pig, rescues his brother and sister from the fox's den after the fox has been defeated. So possibly that whole thing of it being a fox, not a wolf, because there's always that thing of foxes will try to run off with as much and store food. They'll actually bury it to come back to it later. It's one of the reasons they have the reputation of killing for fun, because a lot of people who have chicken coops and things like that, the fox will come in but won't eat anything, will just kill everything and then leave. And it's not actually the case. It's usually the fact that he goes in, kills everything, and then takes things off to store them. But if he's interrupted, he'll abandon the whole thing because it's not worth it. So yeah, they often have the sort of reputation of being just a horrific killer, when actually that's not quite true. But anywho, I digress.
You know what? You know what it reminds me of, don't you?
What's that?
What they frown upon is almost like fan fiction. What we call fan fiction now, where you take part of the story and then change it to something else. And I know they're not. These are not being changed that much, but they are being changed.
Yeah,
as they go through. The years and different cultures that it meets and the different way
it's the thing, because it's being adapted over time. And also I think because we don't know truly where it originated from, it's pieces of other tales potentially that have been pulled together. So there's no copyright. It's not easy to distinguish who actually gets the credit, which is why it's really difficult to research some of this stuff, because it takes you off in all these different directions. And you can go down a rabbit hole on each one of these, talking about another story.
Yeah.
And going down the rabbit hole. And it's quite complicated. Hence why I assistance.
Yeah.
Because as I say, as the dyslexic queen, I find this kind of thing really difficult. And reading about all of it as well is really complicated for me. And I get very tired very quickly and I lose all enthusiasm. But I love learning about it. So I just get Rich to research it for me. And then he tells me about it all. And it's wonderful. You see, I get to learn it all.
Rich,
he knows how my brain works.
Rich, the researcher.
Yeah, researcher Rich. He's on the case.
I'm getting him a T-shirt.
Yeah, researcher Rich from the Freakin Shack. Right. Well, we are now going on to the Billy Goats Gruff. There probably is more to the little pigs. By all means, go to our listeners. By all means,
Yeah.
go and do your own research on this, because I have not found out by any stretch like all of it. No.
Yeah. Well,
But
this is why
I'm trying to get these whole 3 done in an hour.
In an hour,
You know?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we've got to move on a bit, but
We've got to shivvy along.
If our listeners know any more about any of these stories or have got any of their own stories which are based on the 3 pigs, please let us know.
Embellishments, anything. How does your experience of knowing this story differ?
Yeah.
Which version do you know? Because I'd love to know if you know the burned the bum and disappeared, ran off.
Yeah.
Because that's the one that I knew.
Or do you know one with totally different animals?
Yeah. Or
that
one
is,
with piskies.
Yeah.
So, where do you think the 3 Billy Goats Gruff stems from in terms of countries? Any ideas? Have a stab at it.
I suppose I would sort of say Germanic or Norway. That sort of.
I'm pointing frantically. It is Norwegian.
All right, okay.
I'm like, stick with that. Yeah. It is a Norwegian fairy tale, originally published in 1841.
Wow.
And 1844. So the first version in English was in 1859. So a little bit later. The story is of 3 male goats who need to outsmart a ravenous troll to cross the bridge to their feeding grounds, essentially. They're just trying to get to greener pastures, but they're not allowed because there's a miserable old troll who's also very hungry under the bridge. The 3 Billy Goats, sometimes identified as a youngster, a father, and a grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't know this one. But more often described as brothers. So the 3 brothers crossing a bridge.
Yeah,
I know. Just saying, putting that out there. Anyway.
Yeah, with something evil on the bridge or under the bridge.
There you go.
Yeah.
In other adaptations, there is a baby stroke child goat, a mother and a father goat. So
okay. Yeah. It makes sense. Yeah.
In the earliest English translations, Gruff was used as their family name. This is thought to be a mistranslation of the Norwegian word Bruce. I don't know how to pronounce that in Norwegian, I'm sorry. Which is thought to refer to the tuft or clump of hair on the forehead of livestock, domesticated livestock. If they had a little tuft. Anyway, the word can also mean fizz, but also a frizzle of hair. So like a little tufty frizzle.
Yeah.
A tufty frizzle.
What a great word.
A fantastic word. I've also written another word here, but I can't even read what I've written, so I'm not even going to go there. Anyway, it's not important. That word gruff has then been taken as the family name, as opposed to potentially the tuft of hair on the chin, potentially of a billy goat or the little frizzly hairpiece. I don't know. Anyway, 1995. Australian children's TV series Johnson and Friends adopted this tale with the characters role-playing and acting out the story. 2004, a retelling swapped the goats for sheep, and instead of wanting to eat them, the troll just wanted the sheep. Was upset because he was being disturbed, and the clopping of their little cloven feet was disturbing his sleep. Yeah, crossing the bridge. The story ended with the biggest sheep giving him earmuffs made from wool.
Brilliant.
Which I love. I just love that. In 2008, the BBC created a modern adaptation of the TV series Fairy Tales. In this story, he was given a twist in that the troll was presented as a tragic, cruelly just a victim who was just treated as just an outcast. He wasn't liked by anybody, and that was why he was so mean, was because everyone was mean to him and he was just outcast. It's quite an interesting take on it. There were inspirations from Gordon R. Dickinson's 3-part puzzle in 1962. Also for Stephen King's It alludes to the story as well. Pennywise.
Wow.
Underneath the roads.
Oh my goodness. I'd never have put
I didn't
them
make
together.
those connections either. And another interesting one, because I'm reading a lot more at the moment because I'm listening to audiobooks. This suits me so much better. And Terry Pratchett's Discworld novel, Lords and Ladies, refers to this story as well. As does the joke made in the first chapter of Monstrous Regiment, which is 2003, where the troll regularly guarding bridges and no one charges extra for anyone crossing with a billy goat due to the fear of being butted off the bridge.
Brilliant.
So there you go. There is also another one, and again, I'm going to butcher this name completely. It's Andre Snur, not sure, Magnusson's. And again, there's this name, it's Timakison. In 2013, was a retelling of Snow White featuring a troll who meets a kid, its mother and her husband, the family of goats.
Mm-hmm.
Usual tale of wait to eat the next goat, which I don't think we mentioned before. In the original tale, the little goat goes across the bridge. The troll wants to eat him, and he says, no, wait, for the one coming behind me is bigger than me. And then he gets across, and the second one comes along. He says, no, wait, because then the one behind me is bigger. And then the third one, I think, manages to outsmart him or whatever, or gets eaten. Or I don't know. I can't remember.
Doesn't he butt him off the bridge or something?
He could butt him off the bridge. Yeah, it could butt him off the bridge.
Something
And that
like
could
that,
be then the reference that Terry Pratchett's using in Monstrous Regiment. So, so they do this whole thing of wait to eat the next goat. The troll loses his appetite. What's the world coming to? The kid tells me to eat his mother. The mother tells me to eat her husband. Crazy family. The troll goes home, leaving the goats uneaten. And that was the most recent in 2013. But again, just how stories change and seem to just become more and more kind as they go through. They started off horrific and horrible, and terrible things happened, and animals died, and people were mutilated and whatever. And now the modern versions, it's like, oh no, they can all live happily ever after. It's fine.
If the troll had charged a proper toll and accepted card payments, the whole affair would have been a far more civilized event.
I think in this day and age, they do tend to mute down stories for children. As I don't know if you've ever seen pictures of, and I think that is sort of Norway, the Netherlands, but the pictures of the rabbit at Easter, the Easter bunny, is the most horrific pictures you have ever seen of an Easter bunny. Talk about scare your children to death. But they must have their photograph taken with this Easter bunny.
Oh my goodness.
Have you got the pictures there?
I'm looking it up now. You don't think for a second I'm going to let that slide, do you?
We're going to have to
Norwegian?
I think it's Norway or the Netherlands. Pictures, the old pictures of the Easter bunny.
Well, I'm sorry, but Norway does not have the Easter bunny tradition.
All right, so it's not there
it's not
then.
Norway. Hang on. Scary vintage Easter bunny. Oh, my life. Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is traumatizing.
It is, isn't it?
A human dressed up as a rabbit. But there are so many weird ones here. Some of them are neurotically happy. That is just terrifying. Others of them look like it's something that has been taxidermied really badly.
Yeah.
Some of them just look like they've got old sacks over their heads with giant wire ears.
And nearly all the children that are sitting with them are screaming and crying.
Yeah, this is not an enjoyable experience at all. This is, I mean, to be fair, one of them is crying in this picture, and it is the cutest rabbit costume I've seen so far. So I think just stop putting your children with giant animals that could potentially eat them.
Yeah. I mean,
some of these I would consider to be a drastic threat to life.
Well, yeah. I mean, you are setting your child up for post-traumatic stress disorder for
absolutely.
The rest of its life every time Easter is even mentioned.
Yeah. Yeah, Curse of the Were-Rabbit has nothing on these guys.
No, it's gruesome. And yet it's weird because sometimes when they go and see like the Krampus thing, the kids love it.
Yeah.
The kids love it, but it's a different situation, isn't it? You don't have to go and sit with this monster to have your photo taken. They actually, I don't know. But I'm not sure exactly where this type of Easter bunny came from. I as I say, I thought it was more.
That's just terrifying.
I thought it was more Northern Europe, but maybe I was wrong. But yeah, some of the pictures are horrific. I will aim to get a few pictures and put them on the socials.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you can look it up. You can look up horrific Easter bunny pictures.
Yes, even if you put in scary Easter bunny.
Easter bunny, yeah.
It will come up and show you some of the terror. And the ones that I've just found are old pictures. They're very, very old.
They are. They're all very vintage pictures, aren't they?
Yeah. So, but right now, we're going to dive in to the three bears and one often unwelcome intruder. Because this one is fascinating. Goldilocks and the Three Bears. Now, this is a traditional classic 19th century British fairy tale of which various versions seem to exist. The tale changing rapidly, just as all the others do, in the latter part of the 1800s, but which seems to possibly have originated from older folk tales, just like all the others. It is believed that the very first modern version was created by a wonderful lady called Eleanor Muir. I think it's Muir, M-U-R-E, in 1831. And it was called The Story of the Three Bears. It was created as a birthday present for her 4-year-old nephew. Instead of a curious young girl, the intruder was an angry old woman. Instead of eating porridge, she drinks milk. There is no mention of the bears being a nuclear family, although one of them is described as a little bear. She illustrated it. She made this book. She gave it to her nephew. It was never published.
Okay.
So this is the earliest version of this tale that they can find. The ending is significantly darker. I will just say, just briefly, the story of the three bears is the three bears live in a house. There is a big bear, medium bear, and a small bear. They are usually depicted as mummy bear, daddy bear, and baby bear. And Goldilocks comes to the house. She breaks in, essentially. they
doesn't she
porridge.
Get lost? Does she get lost in the
Maybe.
Forest? So I think she's looking for...
The bears make their porridge, but it's too hot, so they set it on the table and they go for a walk in the woods.
Yeah.
In the meantime, Goldilocks breaks into the damn house and comes in, eats the porridge. She eats the big bowl first, and it's too hot. She eats the medium-sized bowl, and it's too cold. And she eats the baby's dish, which is just right.
Yeah, but don't forget she tries the chairs first
Then
at the table.
she tries the chairs after.
Really? I thought she
Chairs
tried
came
the chairs
after.
first, because then she knows which chair to sit on to eat the porridge. Maybe
That's a good point. I know it again. This is where it kind of changes, because I knew it as being more comfy chairs, not dining room chairs. But
oh, right, okay, yeah.
I don't know, because then it says that she goes to the chairs. She tries the big chair, which is too hard.
Mm-hmm.
The medium chair, which is, or is it that it's too big? The other one, I don't know, whatever. But then she sits on the baby chair and it breaks. And she breaks it completely.
That's
So
right.
then
yes.
she goes to find the beds, and the big bed is too hard, the medium bed is too soft, but the little one's bed is just right.
Yeah.
I need to go through that because this is important later. Now, in this story that she creates, then when the bears come back, they find Goldilocks in the bed and she jumps out the window and runs off, right? The ending for this story, the original story, is much darker. Now remember, it's an old lady, not oh dear,
not a sweet little child.
No,
a grumpy old madam.
The ending's significantly darker and than the modern version, with the bears trying and failing to burn and drown the woman before deciding to, and I quote, chuck her aloft on St. Paul's churchyard steeple. And I've seen the pictures in this original book. They are fabulous. Absolutely wonderful. 6 years later, Robert Southerly published a similar tale. In his story, 3 male bears, a small bear, a medium bear, and a large bear, live together in a house in the woods. Southerly describes them as good-natured, trusting, harmless, clean, and hospitable. Each bear has his own bowl of porridge, his own chair, and his own bed. One day, whilst their hot porridge is cooling, just as we said before, they wander through the woods. An old woman described throughout the story as insolent, mean, swearing, ugly, dirty, and a vagabond who belongs in a reformatory.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, pulling no punches there. She discovers the bear's home. She looks through the window and the keyhole, opens the latch, and after ensuring that no one is home, enters. The old woman tries the porridge of the big bear, which is too hot for her. Then she tries the porridge of the middle bear, which is too cold. Finally, she eats the porridge of the smallest bear. Next, she sits down on the chair of the big bear, which is too hard for her, and then the chair of the middle bear, which is too soft. When she sits in the chair of the small bear, it breaks as a result. Continuing to explore the house, she finds the bear's beds after trying the big bear's bed and the middle bear's bed, and finding them unsuitable, she goes to sleep in the smallest bear's bed. When the bears return home, the story reaches its climax. After another, they discover that someone has eaten the porridge, sat in the chairs, and lain in their beds. The smallest bear finds the old woman in his bed and exclaims, and I quote, "Someone has lain down in my little bed, and there she is still." Startled, the old woman jumps out of the window and runs away and is never seen again. Not long afterwards, George Nicol retold it in a rhyming verse along with illustrations, unaware of Muir's earliest picture book. So they didn't have the original illustrations as it hadn't been publicly published, which is such a shame because I need them to do this. I need them to publish this book. Nicol describes Southerly as the story's great original concoctor. Muir's earlier authorship wasn't widely known until the mid-20th century. It is known now. She gets the credit now. The fairy tale's main character was then given an age reduction and a name. In a treasury of pleasure books for young children, Joseph Kundell, I think, explains that he decided to make her a young girl because there were plenty of other stories about old women. However, she wasn't yet known as Goldilocks, with Kundell naming her Silverhair. By the end of this decade, the trio of bears had also become a father, mother, and child, giving us the now most popular version of the tale. However, it was only in the 1860s where we see our female protagonist referred to as having golden hair, and the name Goldilocks seems to be connected with a letter published in 1875, though this may simply have been a description of the character rather than her name. She was officially named Goldilocks in 1904, gained major traction with the public when it was included in Flora Ann Steele's English Fairy Tales 1918. The story makes extensive use of the literary rule of 3.
Magic comes in threes. 3 wishes, 3 trials, and 3 chances for Steph to roll her eyes at me.
Featuring 3 chairs, 3 bowls of porridge, 3 beds, and 3 title characters who live in the house. There are also 3 sequences of the bears discovering in turn someone has been eating the porridge, sitting in the chairs, and finally laying in the beds, at which point the climax of the Goldilocks being discovered occurs. This follows 3 earlier sequences of Goldilocks trying the bowls of porridge, each in turn, and finding the third one to be just right. This concept of just right is an interesting one, because here we dive a bit deeper. The concept has spread across many other disciplines, particularly developmental, psychology, biology, economics, Buddhism, and engineering, where it is called the Goldilocks principle. In planetary astronomy, a planet orbiting the sun at just the right distance for liquid water to exist on its surface, neither too hot or too cold, is referred to as the Goldilocks zone. As Stephen Hawkins put it, and I quote, "Like Goldilocks, the development of intelligent life requires that planetary temperatures be just right."
Love it.
So there's reference to the tale having its true origins in earlier folklore in England, a tale known as, I'm not sure if it's Scrapfoot or Scrapefoot, tells of a fox who visits a castle of 3 bears and steals their milk. So just another one. In fact, the motif of an entity finding someone has been eating their food, sleeping in their beds whilst they were away is also present in many older tales.
Mm.
In the Grimm's telling of Snow White, and we're going to cover this in more detail another time, the protagonist finds the dwarf's cottage empty and proceeds to try the food on the 7 plates, drink from 7 cups, and finally tests each of the 7 beds, settling on the last one. Upon returning home, the dwarves exclaim, "Who has been sitting in my chair?" and "Who has been eating from my plate?" etc. So that's another place where those
I
things
have heard that version before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hadn't. I didn't know
Did you not?
No, that was totally new. Oh, also in Grimm's version of the Tale of Snow White is welcomed and allowed to remain rather than being chased from the property. It's interesting that in this version she is also described as golden haired. So there you go. Also published in the Grimm tales entitled The 3 Ravens, which is another one that's a really interesting story in which a girl sets out to rescue her 3 brothers who were transformed into birds. In this tale, the girl travels to the castle and finds 3 plates and cups, tasting from each and dropping her ring into the latter cup. Upon their return, the ravens each exclaim, "Who ate from my plate? Who drank from my cup?" until the third raven looks into his cup, sees the ring, and the curse is broken. Tales such as Romania's The Bewitched Brothers, Norway's The 12 Wild Ducks, or the Knights in Bear Shapes have notable parallels to the popular tale that we know today.
Wow.
Yeah. If threes are used solely to make a story stick in our minds, then I say it works rather wonderfully, as evidenced by our remembering tales such as this quite so vividly, even if it's just those little sections, those little quotes, the rhythm of that.
Yeah.
The
rhythm
because
of
the
it. Yeah.
threes do tend to set the rhythm. In this way, it can be said that 3 truly is the magic number.
Cool. Love it. Love it.
Yeah.
Going back to what we were saying before about the Billy Goats Gruff and the 3 brothers that want to cross the bridge and they meet death.
That's
don't
right.
They?
Yeah.
And they want to pass, but Death ends up. Does he set them a task or does he?
No. So in the story of the 3 brothers approach the bridge and Death appears to them and says that he's going to reward them for something. Oh, that's right, because it's a broken bridge and he casts the spell to rebuild the bridge. So Death turns up to reward them for their display of magic, that they've fixed the bridge, and gives them an item that they request. The first brother wants the magic wand that is the most powerful, and
I've got here that they're traveling together. They reach a treacherous river. They make a magical bridge over the river.
Yeah,
halfway across.
Death has been waiting at the river for people to drown.
In the river. Yeah. They meet.
So he's trying to.
They meet someone who is Death, who is angry for losing 3 potential victims, and he pretends to be impressed by them and grants them a wish as a reward. One of them, and again, it's 3 things, isn't it?
It's the 3 things. Yeah. So it's 3 brothers.
Yeah.
It's 3 rewards.
Yeah.
It's then 3 demises.
Yeah.
And Death collects all 3 in the end.
Yeah.
But, in an interesting way for the last one, just he has to play the long game.
Yeah. I'm not going all the way through it because you can read it for yourself.
We won't spoil it. Yeah. But yeah, it's an interesting one. And again,
all based on
3s. Yeah. All the 3s. Which is, it was a really interesting dig, this one, especially finding out about the Goldilocks zone with the planets. And, that's not just for our solar system. That's there's lots of Goldilocks zones.
We'll all be listening for it now when people say, oh, it's the Goldilocks zone or the,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I thought that was really, really interesting.
But if any of our listeners have got a story that they know of in their culture, in their childhood growing up, that links with the 3s of any
and
type.
We've got the nursery rhymes as well, because we covered the 3 blind mice.
3 blind mice, yep. Yeah.
So there's loads. There's absolutely loads. I'm just looking to see what we have.
It's like Bar Black Sheep, because that was 3 things as well.
3 things as well, yeah.
Yeah.
3 bags of wool.
3 bags full.
Yeah.
One for the master, one for the dame, one for the little girl who lives down the lane. So it's all
a little boy when I read it.
Little boy, little girl, could be anything you like.
Could be anything. And that, I think, is what we can take away from most of these stories, is that I think you could pretty much tell them in any way you like, and somebody's already told it that way at some point.
Yeah.
They've just changed so many times in so many different ways that it's just considered normal now. You just change it and,
Yeah.
There was a film of Billy Goats Gruff as well. I think it came out. I'm not sure if it was if it was like a long film or if it was just a short cartoon type film that they did. But I didn't take any notes on that because I was just it was going crazy at that point.
Yeah. We covered a lot.
We did.
It was really good. Really good. I enjoyed that because I haven't looked up any of these.
No,
so it was. So I was quite happy doing your job, just listening.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Doing what I'd been doing up until now. So yeah, that is our episode all on threes.
Do remember, listeners, that all good things come in threes, except ghosts. One is quite enough.
You're sounding a little rough, Mort. Have you caught a cold? How does that happen?
My dear Petrina, I haven't caught a cold. I'm simply suffering from the chills.
The chills, Mort. You're dead. How do you get the chills?
Spiritual chills, metaphysical shivers, a brisk draught across one's afterlife. It happens when a ghost has overexerted himself or herself, or more likely, when someone opens the shack door too enthusiastically.
Oops. Sorry, Mort. That may have been me.
Oh, bless.
Poor old Mort. Bless your heart. Hopefully you're feeling better very soon. Feel better for Christmas.
100%. I'm with you. If you are at all interested, I'll give you a little taster of what we're in for.
Please tell us.
So we are covering the horrific tale of Hansel and Gretel. We are going back again. We're doing sort of foresty things. So it's Hansel and Gretel, Red Riding Hood, because that story has changed too.
Yeah.
And the absolutely brutal and traumatizing story of Snow White. Because there is a particular ending to that story that, let's just say it's an adult version, okay?
Okay.
This one's not for little ears,
Okay.
but interesting nonetheless. We will add it in. But when I found this out, I was like, this is a real, like, whoa moment. Hang on a minute. I wasn't ready. Let's just say that. I wasn't ready for Snow White. Anyway.
I shall look forward to that one. And I won't look any of this up. I'm going to just be here fresh with my listening ears and
Absolutely.
my swingy light that stops swinging now.
That's all right. That's all right. The ship stopped rolling.
Yeah. It's in calm waters at the minute.
If you are totally confused by what we're talking about, go back and listen to what first episode?
Well, I think it was the first episode.
Where we talk about why it's a swinging light.
Do you know, I looked back the other day as to how many people have actually listened to our very first episode, which was raw. I mean,
it was.
We had no idea what we were talking about.
I don't think we know what we're talking about now, if I'm honest.
We don't much now, but no, it is a bit rough. But hey ho, that was our first episode. But we do talk about the significance of the swinging light and pulling up a chair. And
pull up a chair, swing that light, grab your favourite beverage. We say at the beginning of every episode.
Yeah. So on that note, I think we're done.
Keep your minds open and your lamps lit. And we will see you again next week at the Freakin Shack.
The Freakin Shack. Goodbye, everyone.
Thanks for hanging out in the shack with us. If you've got a strange story, theory, or even just a spooky question, send it to shackpackinbox@gmail.com because we'd love to hear from you. Follow us to ensure that you never miss an episode of the Freakin Shack, because listening to us is much cheaper than therapy and slightly more spooky. Until we meet again next week, Shackpackers, take care.